design world, awarded the prestigious Singapore Young Designers Award in 2002. She has represented Singapore in the Asian Young Designers Awards with her exquisite designs showcasing innovative and flamboyant textile. Currently, she is teaching textile design in Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts and pursued an MA in studio practice, textile, and jewelry. In giving fabric their new life, Angeline was working with paper interfacing and organ in launching Green is the New Black in 2007. With a reused and reinventing material collection in 2008, she launched her bamboo fiber collection. Yes. Okay, so before we open the floor for questions, we will just ask our panelists to give their insights about the movie and the social and environmental impacts that fashion industry is causing. So let me start with Yumiko.
Hi everyone. Okay, well, as you saw in the film just now, Safia Amini, the founder of People Tree, was my boss 10 years ago. I was quite interested in, sustainability and like the environment when I was younger. And I also enjoyed fashion very much. I just like wearing nice clothes and like looking good and all that kind of stuff. And without really knowing much, when I was in the UK, I went to the university there, and I did an internship at Oxfam. And Oxfam has their thrift shops, so whatever clothes that you donate, they're selling through their thrift shops. And I actually went to their recycling center, and I saw that there's just so much clothes that it's just impossible, like even through their thrift shop, that all of them will actually find like someone who would wear them. And from then on, I started thinking about the effects of fashion in for us as people. And I went back to Japan. I'm half Japanese, half Singaporean, and that's how I started working for People Tree. And I was in charge of one of the organic cotton factories in India. And from then on, I was like, what is organic cotton? I really had no idea. And through my work, I started, looking at other conventional cotton and how they grow it, and how, not just unsustainable it is, but the effects that it has on people. I started to know that people actually have to kill themselves because they get into debt, and it's a really depressing story. And for someone who enjoys fashion so much, I just couldn't take it, and I started, thinking about, well, what is it like my life in fashion industry if I'm just like harming so many people on the way, that I'm like, how am I supposed to love what I really love? And then that's how this whole Etrigan thing started. And I just decided to move back here in Singapore and just kind of provide an option for people who would be interested. It's really hard for people to know what's going on. If you're just, all you see in Singapore is shops. There are no manufacturers, there are no rivers getting polluted, there are no clothes being dumped, so it's really hard to know. But for people who are aware of it, I just wanted to provide the option, and that's why the brand is here. And that's why I'm here today. So yeah, that's what I took from the film. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, hi. Can you hear me? Can? Yes. I was the same as Yumiko. I was very interested in fashion when I was very young. So I assigned myself into a program in Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts and studied fashion, did the degree, blah blah. But I was introduced to textile print and textile weaving, very basic weaving, in school. So from there, I was really keen to, I fall in love with the touch of fabric, and I started to wonder where do they come from, and how do people make this fabric, and then obviously how these fabrics are made into clothes. Then eventually, I start to read up about how these fabrics come about, and then where do they go. Then I start to realize also that there's wastage. Every time we cut a pattern, every time we cut a piece of garment. So I wonder what and where do these scrap pieces go to? So I start reading and researching into that. And I realized, yes, there's this huge sad story behind it. And then it evolves to me and makes aware to me that I should treasure my fabric. So in my final year of study, I actually bought or asked for old curtain material, curtain fabrics that people are throwing away. I went to a factory in Geylang area, and I just bring home some of this paper interfacing that they are throwing away because it's not in trend anymore in putting paper interfacing in men's jacket. So I have like 10 rows of them. They're very light, so I just took a few trips on the bus and I bring home. Then from there I add color to them, I try and stitch things onto them, I add things to them, I find ways that I can work with this fabric. So anyway, my lecturers were very impressed, and I was quite impressed that these supposedly to be thrown away fabric or paper interfacing actually gave me a very good result. So from there I start to work with fabrics that are unwanted. I kind of have this weird emotional attachment with them, thinking that they are unwanted lives. So anyway, from there I start working with recycled things, garments, fabric pieces, scraps. And then I was introduced to this wonderful sharing session. So yeah, that I think, yeah.
Hi everyone. The movie had a lot of messages, but the one thing that struck me the most was the role of the consumer. I think the gentleman from Patagonia said that as they prefer customers who realize that they have an impact to the environment. And if you look at statistics from I think there was a study done by Cambridge University. It shows that people are buying a third more clothes, garments now than they were 20 years ago. And yet, if you look at your wardrobe, you're only wearing 20%. So if you go back home now, you look at your wardrobe, what are the things that you pick out the most? And are there any clothes that you've never worn, like for maybe many months, or maybe you've bought it and somehow the label is still there, maybe it was bought on impulse. And so I feel that the consumer is actually driving this whole fast fashion industry. Somehow we've responded to it positively, and because of that, then fast fashion industry has decided that, okay, we'll produce more and more. So as a consumer, perhaps we can take a step back, and I think when we go out shopping, think of whether you need that particular garment or not, or is it a want? Do you have something similar in your wardrobe? And for me, I believe that handshaking. I believe that as a consumer, we have to develop a relationship with the things that we own, and of course clothing. And for me, it's about repairing that item if it's broken, if it's torn, for example, or even upcycling, which what I and Angeline do. So it's about really developing that relationship with your clothing. But from the other angle, as a fashion designer, perhaps fashion designers should look at it from the perspective of how can we create clothes that are emotionally durable, that consumers can buy but have a longer life, for example, or maybe they can be upcycled or recycled in any particular way. So we're actually extending the life of that garment.
Thank you, ladies, for that wonderful sharing. So the floor would be open for questions, discussion, I mean. So you can just raise your hand. Apparently, we only have one mic. You can just raise your hands and you can raise your question. And you can introduce yourself and say the name of the panelist that you'd want to address your question. Or if you have comments about what is happening in the fashion industry or about the movie. Who would want to go first?
Sorry. I have a question to ask everyone. How many of you have owned 5 items that you bought from a thrift shop? Or 1 item? 1? Yeah. Okay. We have Salvation Army, or there's one quite near here.
New to you.
Yes. New to you. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. Thank you for mentioning Oxfam, but we do have a Singapore Oxfam here, and I want to tell you all about it. Yeah, and I think I will go there every week actually to scout for things that people don't want anymore, lives that people don't want anymore. So I think you should go there and support them, and hopefully they can have expansion, and hopefully they get into a air-conditioned place so that more people will go. Yeah. So yeah.
And I think that
Hi. I have a question regarding like smart clothes. Do you think that would be like in thing of the future, and how it would affect the industry? Like I think like not so long ago, a couple of weeks back, there was a video on the internet showing some spray-on clothes. So they actually have a model of I'm not sure whether some of you might have seen it, where you actually spray on this solution onto this torso, and subsequently you can just peel. I think it's something like Kickstarter project, something like that. So and nowadays there's conductive fabric, and people are talking about the Internet of Things, whether clothes could be connected to the internet in the future. What's your take on that? Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Are you talking about like wearables or
Just spray how body would fit into your body.
are they actually thinking of selling them?
Yeah, it's actually in the process of like doing it like mass.
Chemical technology. I'm aware slightly of that, but I think that spells to me like chemical technology, and then again I feel it will go into that environmental pollution because it's chemical. I personally felt that we should just stick to still growing some cotton, but making outfits that are long life, like has a long life, and also I think as we are all consumers, but maybe when we are shopping, we kind of think that how many pairs of jeans do I need, right? I personally only have one, so I don't know. And I'm not shy to say that I only have one, and I
I do too, yeah. I only have one. Yeah.
How many of you have just one pair of jeans? Okay. Yeah, something like that. So maybe as consumers, when we are buying and kind of think classic look may help us put this material to minimize using such material. So minimize planting of cotton. If everyone just owned maybe 2 pairs of jeans, maybe, and 2, yeah.
So for Etrigan, for my clothing, quite often I do talks at schools, you know, like secondary schools and high schools, sometimes university students, because it connects with like entrepreneurships and all that. And you know, they ask me a question like, oh, like what can we do? Like, you know, what should we do? And I always say, you know, you should buy less. And it sounds really weird because I have a brand. I sell clothes, but I'm here telling people to buy less. But that's where you can really start to make a difference, because I like clothes, and you know, one thing that I really like is like wearing my mom's old clothes. You know, like she was like in her 60s, like the 70s, 80s, all these like great clothes that she has in her wardrobe, and she can't wear them anymore because she's like a lot bigger. But like I could wear them, and I wear them, and I really like their quality. You know, you can just like dump them in the wash, and then like it would dry, no stains, like, you know, like it won't break, and it's really, really good quality. And nowadays I really think that, you know, those blog shops and fast fashion, yeah, it's really cheap, but you wash it a few times and then like the thread starts coming off and like button starts popping, and you're like, oh, I don't have nothing to wear, I have to go and buy more clothes now. And yeah, it's like a cycle that never ends. And like my mom's clothes are like still hanging in my wardrobe, and it hasn't lost shape or anything. So you know, this whole thing with the smartware and stuff, I'm sure it's like a great technology, but I hope it's there to stay on. And that, you know, if when you buy, I mean, it's an investment, right? When you buy stuff, you know, you pay money for it, and I hope that it lasts, you know. And I think that's what it is about like smart design as well. If it's you know, designed well, then it doesn't matter, like, you know, like people will be like, oh, like this stuff, you know, like I bought it 2 years ago and now I can't wear it. But if the design is really smart, then I think it could be carried on to like generations. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but yeah, that's where you could start, really, when you think about, because when you buy like a t-shirt and you'll be like, oh, you know, I only paid for $5, this is such a good bargain. But so if you didn't pay $10 for it, who is covering the cost for that $5? You know, you have to think back that maybe somewhere along the line in the supply chain, someone's not getting paid what you didn't pay for it. And you know, like when you're like working and you're like, oh, I only got like, you know, like this much pay, or like I didn't get paid overtime and all that. It's not just your problem, it's everyone else's problem too. And I hope that you guys can find, like, you know, we can find a way to connect these dots and like think about it before you buy stuff, you know, like if you really need it, is the material good, you know, is the design good? And yeah, and I hope that we can start from somewhere. Yeah.
You were mentioning about the spray on clothing, got me thinking